Hello, everyone. My name is Dalal, and welcome to Popcorn and Soda, the show where we discuss all things movies, pop culture, and so much more. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you for making me a small part of your day. All right, holiday season is upon us. And like every year, holiday movies are my favorite movies because those are where the heavy hitters come out. That's where you see the Oscar movies, that's where you see the big directors, big actors, people that are doing the lower budget films that have more just, less summer blockbuster popcorn feel to it, which, hey, I love those as well, but more so of just pure acting, pure art, pure cinema. And that is what I love about the holiday season. So, this year, there are so many amazing movies that I'm so excited to see. Uh, and this is my first ever top five most anticipated fall slash holiday season films that I want to share with you guys that are on the top of my list. Now, I wouldn't say these are in any specific order except for number one, but I would say up to number one, they're all kind of equally as super cool, and I'm really excited for it. So let's get started with my fifth most anticipated movie of this holiday season, and that is Napoleon. Where do I begin? Joaquin Phoenix, Sir Ridley Scott, Vanessa Kirby, Napoleon Bonaparte. Sold. I remember this movie being announced years ago. It was under the name Kit Bag at the time, the working title, and I'm like, wow, a Joaquin Phoenix movie about Napoleon. Sir Ridley Scott, Gladiator Union, bam. I just remember being so excited for it because this was around the time where Joaquin Phoenix just wrapped the Joker and he was coming off that crazy, crazy performance, which is one of my all time favorite performances ever. And he's transitioning into an actual non fictional character versus the Joker, who's a fictional character, of course. So I was just excited to see what Joaquin brings to this role. And just by watching the trailers, wow, I just cannot wait to see this. And the thing about Joaquin is he goes all in. Better or for worse, he goes all in on his roles, and that's why he's one of my favorite actors because his commitment to his craft is it's gold standard. And just on top of that, reuniting with Sir Ridley Scott, who he teamed up with in Gladiator. So there's a lot of really cool things there, and of course, someone who enjoys biopics and someone who enjoys history. Napoleon is one of those controversial figures in the history of just civilization. And like the funny thing is, the only depiction I ever saw of Napoleon ever is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the very first one. That's like the only time I ever saw actual live action depiction of Napoleon. So, hey, here's hoping that Joaquin Phoenix just crushes it in this role because I know he will. But the wild card to me in this entire movie is the very talented Miss Vanessa Kirby. I am such a big fan of Vanessa Kirby's. I think that she is just ascending, ascending and ascending with each role that she does. She's got this aura about her, and her acting ability is just top notch. And I think that she's gonna really bring out the best in Joaquin, and I think Joaquin's gonna bring out the best in her. So I am beyond excited. Having watched the trailers, I cannot wait to see what this group of creatives come up with Napoleon. All right, so that's Napoleon. So what is number four on my list? Number four on my list is a much more subdued movie, something more toned down, and that is Saltburn, starring Barry Keoghan, of course, Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike. This is a very stacked cast, but what I'm most excited about is Barry Keoghan. I think he is literally on trajectory to becoming the next big superstar. He has just elevated his acting and his roles. Every single role of his is just one after another. And it's just, he's arrived. Whether it's his little cameo in The Batman, Killing of a Sacred Deer, just Barry Keoghan is the man. Academy Award nominated Barry Keoghan, I must add. Banshees of Inisherin. I'm so excited for this movie because you know why? I think it's getting a lot of cool buzz because, of course, you have Jacob Elordi, who is this like Greek god of a man who literally is like sculpted out of clay. But I think he's a very underrated actor. People often forget how good of an actor he is based on just, of course, his physical appearance and just the way he is and the way he's looks. So I'm really excited about that. And just watching the trailers, I'm not sure about you guys, but I get so much Get Out vibes from the movie where it's like not all is what it seems, and here's this guy coming into this home and there's some crazy things going on, and I'm a sucker for those kinds of movies. I love those kinds of movies because I think they just bring something different than your popcorn blockbuster movies, your, Oscar uh, biopics, Napoleon or something like that. I think a movie like this can just feel enjoyed for what it is. You're not trying to watch a movie about someone saving the end of the world or someone who had a big impact on the world. It's just a character piece on this person who happens to befriend Jacob Elordi's character, and it follows a journey as he visits his family and his home. So for me, Saltburn is number 4 on my list of the most anticipated films. All right, so we got number 5, we got number 4, number 3, Maestro, directed by one of my favorite directors and actors, Mr. Bradley Cooper. Leonard Bernstein. Don't know too much about him, I'll be honest, but I am a sucker for musical biopics, whether it's Elvis, Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man. I just love those kinds of films. But this film looks like there's a lot of different layers, and it follows the trajectory of his life. And it'll be interesting for me because I don't know much about Leonard Bernstein going into the movie. So it's going to be very interesting. And one of the reasons why I have this so high on my list is Bradley Cooper. I loved A Star Is Born, and I think it was criminally underrated in terms of the actual like Oscars that it won. I think for a first time director, Bradley Cooper knocked it out of the park. And I'm a big fan of Bradley Cooper, the actor, as well. I think he is such a talented actor, and he's a true creative maestro in his own way because he acts, directs, produces. This is a movie I'm very excited about just for the sheer factor that it's Bradley Cooper and it's his follow up to A Star Is Born. So, number 3, Maestro. Number 2 on my list, The Iron Claw. Confession time. I love professional wrestling. It is something that I grew up on. One of the earliest childhood memories that I have is watching professional wrestling. And if you know professional wrestling, especially in the early 90s, late 80s, the family name, Von Erichs, that's something that always gets brought up because that is one of the true families of professional wrestling. You have the McMahons, you have the Rhodes, you have the Von Erichs, you have the Harts. For all those that I miss, but the Von Erichs are a big staple in professional wrestling. And it's a very tragic story. And it's one that I'm very well versed in. And for those who haven't really watched professional wrestling or know who the Von Erichs are, you're in for a very, I don't want to say dark, but you're in for a very cautionary tale almost. You're in for a movie that's tackles and explores toxic masculinity, mental health issues in the world of professional wrestling, where you have these alphas who are just jacked, super athletes working 300 nights a year. And the Von Erichs were that family. They were a big part of the professional wrestling history. And I'm so excited for this movie because, hey, I think Zac Efron is having the Zacassance. You know how they had the McConaissance, the Brendan Fraser aunts. I think Zac Efron is slowly becoming a top level actor. I really believe that. He always has been, in my opinion, but his trajectory just reminds me of Matthew McConaughey's when he had those crazy few years where he was just knocking it out of the park. He did The Lincoln Lawyer. He did, of course, Dallas Buyers Club. He won an Oscar for Magic Mike. He had that great cameo in The Wolf of Wall Street. And then, of course, Interstellar. And I feel like Zach's latest film projects that he has chosen are really different, and it's really cool. It's no longer he's that young heartthrob guy. Of course, he can still do those roles, but he's being very selective, almost kind of like a Robert Pattinson, where he wants to go out and make a movie where it showcases his talent and really showcases his story. So I am really excited for the Ironclaw. Alan White, what else can be said about that guy? He's a rock star, and I'm interested and curious to see how they're going to tackle this story, because it is a very tragic story, and it is a story about family. So I'm just beyond excited to watch Ironclaw. And hey, A24 is probably one of my favorite film studios because they make movies that resonate with humans. It resonates with everyone. They make universal stories, and that's what I love about A24. Number 2 on my list, The Ironclaw. All right, we went through number 5, number 4, 3, 2, number 1 most anticipated movie for me in this year's holiday season, Wonka, starring Mr. Timothy Chalamet, who is quite possibly the biggest star, or on his way of becoming the biggest star in Hollywood. Timothy Chalamet is a chameleon. He can do so much. And he's such a young guy. I think he's still in like his 20s, and this guy's creating a filmography that's already so great. Call Me By Your Name, Little Women. I love that movie. Just Timothy Chalamet is an actor who is really gonna redefine an entire era of Hollywood, and I'm so excited for his portrayal of Mr. Willy Wonka. Now, I have to confess again, the reason why I'm so excited for this movie is because the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was probably the first English movie I ever watched, and it left a mark on me. It's one of those movies that just I still remember, and I love those kinds of films that have that impact on you when you're a child. And it's one of those movies that just redefined what I wanted to do with my life. And it's one of those movies that inspired me to follow a goal and a dream in the entertainment industry and in the arts and be doing videos like this. And that is why the original, of course, the Gene Wilder, one of my favorite portrayals of any character ever, Mr. Gene Wilder, rest in peace. I'm excited to see a new reimagining of this character in a different part of his life, early in his life, before the Chocolate Factory, before Charlie Bucket. Timothy Chalamet is the guy to bring it to life. Now, I know it's coming off the Johnny Depp Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was at this point like 15 years ago. A movie that I really enjoyed, and the reason why I enjoyed that is because it reinvented the first one. It didn't do the same thing that the first movie was. And that's what I'm hoping by seeing the trailers of Wonka. This is what Warner Brothers is going to do. And I can just tell Warner Brothers, when they do a movie like this, when they do a property like this, they go all in. So I'm really excited to see what the entire team, the director, the cast. Oh, it's an amazing cast. Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. It's an amazing, amazing cast. And it's like the Paddington cast pretty much, who is coming in to actually do this movie. It's the entire Paddington team. So you know it's going to be sweet. You know it's going to be charming. You know it's going to be heartfelt. And it's going to have a lot of amazing acting from Timothy Chalamet, who I think is just going to crush it in this role. So I have that nostalgia attached to me because of Wonka. But to me, that is my number 1 most anticipated movie for this year's holiday season. So those are my top 5 most anticipated holiday season movies. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think is your most anticipated movie. Is any of my movies on your list? Are there other movies that didn't crack my list that are on yours? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And as always, I would greatly appreciate it if you could take one moment out of your day to hit that subscribe button. Click the bell to notify yourself when my new videos come. Like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Thank you so much for making me a small part of your day as always. And those are my top 5 most anticipated movies of this year's holiday season.